how to avoid being run over by a buffalo. I go on a course in South Africa with the professional hunters of tomorrow. It was like the real thing. We're at a clay shoot that's under new management. A Fieldsports member bought it and Geoff Garrod is already enjoying it.
Caught him too well.
Someone let Terry Doe loose in the sweet shop. His new series, All the Gear, looks at the ThermNight thermal and night vision multispectral scope with laser rangefinder and ballistic calculator.
I've got to say, they've misnamed it.
David has the news on the Fieldsports News Stump. We have an expert on woodcock. About whether we should shoot them, James uncovers the latest YouTube hunting films in this week's Hunting YouTube, and I am back from South Africa, poorer and wiser. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. This is what is meant to happen. It is under 5 seconds from raising the rifle to the first shot. Backup shots come from Northern Cape Professional Hunting School students. And taking the first shot is the man who runs the school, Meinhard Heerholt. To get it right can take weeks of practice, starting today at the range. At the school, 7 young professional hunters are taking the next steps in their careers, learning how to hunt Cape buffalo, one of Africa's big 5 dangerous game.
Improvising. This exercise involves a stalking from where the rifles is standing over there, right behind the barrier line, up till about 30 meters away from the target. And then when we're about 30 meters away the target, because the PH going to put down the sticks for the client, and then he's going to take a shot at a buffalo. And then after that, what will happen is it will immediately come over to this vehicle over here, where a buffalo will grunt and then actually charge him. So that's going to be quite big fun, I think, today.
The simulated stalk itself starts with a team heading into the Mopani scrub. One of them is the client, one the professional hunter, and the other the second PH.
We're going to stalk a buffalo just around these bushes, so just stay behind me all the time. Right. And when we get close, I'll tell you to put rounds in your chamber, and then you can just close it, and then I'll put you on the sticks and tell you where to shoot.
So it's going to be easy. You have to treat me like the most stupid client ever. This will be very easy.
Okay, but you understand it's good?
Yes, I do.
Okay, okay, good.
Course instructor Peter checks their every action for safety and for professionalism. And he tells the students all about it when he sees a problem.
Okay, what I've explained to them now is the surpriser. That's why I did it in Afrikaans.
You don't walk too fast, and you have to be patient while walking, and you have to keep your client in control with all times, not tell him to load too early and not too late. And when the charging buffalo is coming towards you, you must be patient. You shouldn't just shoot it, you should wait for it to get the perfect shot, because it is life and death.
A lot can go wrong, and if it does, it can be fatal. So Peter comes down hard on mistakes. When I take the part of the hunter, I close the Heim double rifle like I would close an English shotgun.
Okay. Ek wil dit hier gou stop.
Peter immediately hauls up my trainee PH for that. All rifles to be closed pointing downrange. Once into the scrub, the next element of the simulated stalk is the final approach on the buffalo. For that, the PHs are taught to take off their shoes and socks.
Taking your shoes off just helps you to walk more quiet. There's nothing more quiet to walk in the bush than to walk without your shoes, and it just helps you, the buffalo, not to be aware of you, and then you can get closer for a better shot for your client.
They approach the first target cautiously. The PH places the sticks out for the client and tells them when to shoot. The second PH is at all times backup. Once he has the go-ahead, the client can shoot the buffalo target. It's not all hard hunting today. Star of the show is Zola, the brindle dachshund, who belongs to one of the PHs. She's only a pup and reduces all of those hard men into gurgling blouses. We're at a range on a cattle ranch in the Northern Cape, and some real animals wander behind the target. The trainee PHs go off to be trainee cowboys instead and clear the range. The last part of the simulated hunt is double time to the charging buffalo stand. There the client and PHs line up, they hear the grunt of a buffalo, about the only warning a buffalo will give, and then they have to shoot the animal as it runs towards them. Propulsion is provided by a car starter motor powered by a car battery. Peter makes sure the buffalo stops in time, but only just. The shots are good. These guys are all competent with rifles, even doubles. One of the lads fails to shoot, and Peter is all over him for that.
He was the PH actually. Yeah, that was a misconception. Yeah, he didn't load two cartridges into his rifle and he couldn't shoot. Luckily the client shot perfect shots, so the buffalo would have died.
When it comes to my turn to shoot, well, maybe you'd be better off without me when facing a charging buffalo.
Okay, just open. You didn't take the second shot.
No.
Okay, you should have.
Oh, sorry. Good.
Okay, it's a dead buffalo.
It is. I suspect that's me. I made sure its ear was dead.
That one buffalo is really, really angry. But congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
You got a killed buffalo.
Well, you've got to say this, haven't you? This is the most important bit.
Very good. I hope you're happy.
Thank you. I'm very happy. Always congratulate the client. That's really good. Thank you very much. Wow, that was just really exciting. It was like it was like the real thing. There's a lot more to this course than just this day. Here's Meinhard, for example, demonstrating the best way to walk when making the final approach on a buffalo.
If you are going into a hot area, is with this foot in front, and then you can shoot on both sides.
It ends with a real Cape buffalo hunt, which we'll bring you in a future episode. For more about the Northern Cape Professional Hunting School's buffalo and other courses, click on the link below. Thank you all who took part in that. Now, what's in this week's Fieldsports Extra? A Fieldsports member with his own clay shoot, a cash point machine with unhappy memories for me, and a buffalo professional hunter and cameraman.
Thank you, a lot of practice.
And you'll see more of that Fieldsports member with his own clay shoot later in this show. Our prize this week, it is week 2 of last week's prize, a defibrillator for your shoot, priced at £1,451. And Carl Pover, who runs LYC Simulated Days in the northwest of England, kindly put up a peg as a prize for us on his shoot, and he had a winner, Mike Chambers, along, shown here enjoying his day with LYC. Thanks, Carl, for the day, and if you would like to go and shoot one of his sim days, there's a link to LYC on the Guns on Pegs website below. Become a Fieldsports member and watch Fieldsports Extra to find out how to enter our free competitions to win kits such as the defibrillator and the peg on the sim day. Link to that below. Now, the media equivalent of 1000 volts, it's David on the Fieldsports channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Police say a 37-year-old man arrested for the attempted murder of a gamekeeper has been released on bail. The arrest came after a 50-year-old Hampshire gamekeeper from the Lincolnholt estate, attempting to stop poachers shooting pheasants with catapults, was run down by a car. The keeper was seriously injured, suffering 2 broken legs and broken ribs in the attack. The Hampshire police investigation is continuing. The keeper has now been discharged from hospital. Around 15,000 people have marched on Westminster, demanding that Britain's waterways are cleared up. These pictures show the size of the protest in London, where anglers, swimmers, surfers, kayakers and even members of Safari Club International marched, waved placards and called for the government to make good on its pre-election promises to clean up the UK's polluted waterways. Organiser River Action is demanding MPs from all parties support calls for changes in the way the water companies manage water. They met politicians at the House of Commons to press for action to reduce pollution and improve water quality.
Off the back of the march, we've launched an all-party parliamentary group with Surfers Against Sewage, who are going to be really active of holding the government to account.
After last week's budget, financial experts are telling shoots on farms to keep calm, carry on and prepare for the future. Sporting estates and shoots linked to farms are expected to be hit by the new rules on inheritance tax, which applies to land ownings priced at more than £1 million from the 6th of April 2026. The announcement by Chancellor Rachel Reeves has led to calls for a mass protest in Westminster, with farmers' groups threatening to blockade London, as well as calls for a farmers' strike. A new tax rise would also hit those driving double cab pickup trucks. The Chancellor said changes to the inheritance tax rules for farms will raise £520 million a year for the Treasury by 2030. Land agent Carter Jonas sees a way through for shoots.
People who may own a sporting estate for sporting purposes it will be less impactful on them than it will be on your sort of core family farming business, because the ownership of land has moved asset and wealth into a low tax environment. Even with these changes, that it is still, relative to other asset classes, still a low tax environment. Even after these changes, it will still be a low tax environment for those individuals. Where it is uncomfortable is when you apply that tax charge to the core farming business, because they do not have the free wealth and free cash to pay that.
A new report from the National Gamekeepers Organisation is highlighting the benefits of humane cable restraints. Working with the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust, the NGO report takes information gathered from scientific research, case studies and first-hand information from gamekeepers. Nervous that England and Wales will follow the snares ban introduced in Scotland, the NGO has sent its report to DEFRA and MPs working in rural constituencies. Northern Ireland's anti-fox hunting Deputy Speaker John Blair is at the centre of a social media row. It all erupted after he posted pictures of a fox Christmas decoration on his Facebook page. Blair plans to introduce a private members' bill calling for a ban on all hunting with dogs in Northern Ireland, and it's likely to go further than his namesake Tony Blair's restrictions on hunting with hounds in England, and includes a ban on trail hunting. His bill is currently out for public consultation. It's clear from his fluffy fox Christmas ornament where his loyalties lie. So, how much does it cost to kill a stoat? Well, if you're the RSPB on Orkney, £1,200 each. New figures show that the Orkney Stoat project, led by the RSPB, will have cost almost £8 million when it concludes in 5 years. Gamekeepers ask why they could not have done the job faster and more cheaply. The bird charity maintains that gamekeepers have no experience of exterminating species, only of managing numbers, which means they're not qualified for the role. The RSPB says that it is qualified to exterminate a species. It says stoats have been on Orkney since 2010 and pose a threat to Orkney's native wildlife. It denies that the growing goose population has led to Orkney farmers increasing imports of livestock feed, therefore bringing in more stoats. Police say an American hunter may have been killed by bears attracted to the carcass of a deer he'd shot. Tad Fujioka, aged 50, was reported missing when he failed to return home from a deer hunt in Alaska. His body was found by Alaskan state troopers near the remains of a deer. Police say he appears to have been mauled to death. A report from Alaska's Department of Fish and Game said there were multiple brown bears feeding on a deer carcass nearby. If you own a four-wheel drive, ATV or quad bike in the south, you're being warned to keep your eyes peeled. Hampshire Police say there's an increase in off-road vehicles stolen from rural locations. It wants owners to increase security and call its Country Watch team to advise on precautions to deter thieves. Police are urging owners to use security markings and fit immobilisation devices. And finally, they've been a menace for generations. Now there's a chance that the American mink could be wiped out for good in the UK. Perhaps the most amazing thing is the news will arrive directly from the mink themselves, sent by text message. New technology loaded into smart traps has all but wiped out the mink population in Norfolk. It's now being rolled out across the UK because it's been such a success. The white box you can see on top of this mink trap is the key. It detects when a mink enters a trap, slams the cage shut, and then automatically sends a text to the trap owner who arrives to dispatch it. The new system is particularly good news for water voles, which form a major part of the diet of the invasive North American mustelid. The Waterlife Recovery Trust introduced the traps. It says our native voles have declined by 97% since mink from the fur trade were released into the wild by animal rights activists in the 1950s.
If we're going to deal with some of the threats to our wildlife, we're going to have to be creative and use everything we have to solve some of the problems. And with mink, we think we've come up with a solution.
You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. And please, asks David, can you like this video and subscribe to Fieldsports Channel? Now, a word about our Raffles site, fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk, from Terry Doe.
Hello, here's something you might want to get on. This is the Picks for a Mile 2 M625. It's 1,250 quid's worth and a little bit more, and you can win it for £2.99. Get on this competition. It helps support the Fieldsports channel, which in turn helps support the shooting sports, the fishing sports, gets us better understood, gets our message out there. Win yourself one of these. They're a fantastic bit of kit, and for £2.99, what's to lose?
Thanks, Terry. There's a week to go on that. And as well as that Picks for a Thermal, we have a Norn Hunt bipod, a £500 Swazi voucher, and nearly £3,000 worth of Maven optics. And David has asked me to try and do a Steve McGuigan version of £3,000. There you go, typical countryman being racist. Countryman and sexist. Next, we're off to a clay shoot in Cambridgeshire. What could be wrong with that? Today, shooters are flocking to Long Acre Shooting School just off the A11 near Cambridge to help raise money for the East Anglia Air Ambulance. It's a cause that's close to the heart of the ground's new owner, David White.
A friend of mine, very good friend of mine, was in the air ambulance not 3 weeks ago. Crashed his motorcycle, so it's a good cause.
David has wanted his own ground for years.
I mean, I've been a professional shooting coach now for 15 odd years, but it's always, you know, you go to this ground and you go to that ground and you coach it here and there. But to have my own ground, you know, it's 20 years in the making. So I've finally got there, 20 years it's took. And, but yeah, we're here. So we got the keys on the 11th of November and we worked right the way through. I was here 8 hours Christmas Day, much to my wife. Yeah, she didn't like that, but we needed to work. We've done so much work here, opening up the ground to where they used to call the orchard. We now got the pathway through there and different shooting stands from there. But yeah, so yeah, it's good.
The ground is a family affair. David's dad is refereeing one of the stands today.
How's he doing?
Very well.
Is he doing it all right?
He's doing it very well. Yeah.
Now, most dads would say he's doing it all wrong. You see.
Yeah, I know I'm biased, but he's very good.
Maybe it's the smell of burgers cooking, but something has brought gamekeepers Geoff Garrod and his son Justin to the ground. Justin starts well with 9 out of 10 on the first stand. Then it's Geoff's turn.
Paul. Good start. One up on the young lad. What?
We're level at the moment.
Why?
We both shot 9.
Well, I killed them, broke them all.
No. It says, look.
Sorry? No, I still broke it.
He's been robbed.
First stand been robbed. I just smoked it.
He takes his disappointment like a sportsman and they carry on round the course.
Good shot, mate. Pull. That's 2 away.
Geoff and Justin are matching each other bird for bird. There's only a couple of targets in it as they reach David's signature stand. the driven pair off the tower.
Taught him too well.
Pull. So Simo pair, over your head, just like driven. Lots of the game shooters come here, they come straight for this, and then, you know, have a good practice. You've got 3 traps up there, oscillating traps. I just asked the shooting community, what do you want? Do you want English sporting or do you want skeet? Lots of more people wanted English sporting.
Done. Done, mate. Trying to keep up with him.
Just about.
Pull.
Pull. 180.
No shot, mate.
Lovely, thank you. Nice shot, Justin.
Well done, mate.
Well done, guys. Thank you very much.
Let's have a look. Can't argue that.
Yeah.
You're walking home.
Ah, cheers.
When all the scores are in, it turns out Justin hasn't just beaten his dad, he's taken the high gun prize as well.
To come up there.
Geoff hasn't missed out entirely. He and Justin collect the pool shoot doubles trophy.
Good afternoon. It's great to come down here. I mean, David's sort of like an up-and-coming gun club, so it's good to come down and support him. It's also good to come and support the East Anglian Air Ambulance. You know, for a rural community, that could be our lifeline. So it's always good to support that. It's great to come down with my son. Not so good to be beaten by my son, but all I got my little glory is now that I taught him well. So, but no, all in all, it's been a good day, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a great day, yeah.
You can find Long Acre Shooting School on Facebook, link below, or check out the website, longacreshootingschool.co.uk. Thanks all who took part in that. You may notice that we do a lot of films with Fieldsports members. There's a lesson in there somewhere. Click to join Fieldsports membership via the link below. Now, woodcock. Cold weather has come to Russia already, maybe not enough to push woodcock to the UK's shores during the November moon, which is the middle of the month. Perhaps we'll get the big fall in December, full moon on the 15th. Whichever it is, should we shoot them or not? Back in July, I interviewed part man, part wader, Andrew Hoodless from the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust. The problem for me is that we find that the conservation industry will, not you specifically, but other parts of it, will use a species that is on the western edge of its distribution, like, for example, the searle bunting, and kind of create a conservation hostage situation out of it. And they will say, because they are declining in the UK in the breeding population, we must therefore get some money to do something about it, or we must therefore ban people from shooting them. And this translates into our fuzzy-minded shooting estate world of people saying, we don't shoot woodcock here, you know, which I find annoying because there are lots of them.
And I've never said you mustn't shoot woodcock.
Okay, well that's
so,
good.
You know, I'm very clear on that. As I started off with, you know, 20 years ago we got concerned about the decline in our resident birds, but as we've just discussed, globally, you know, there's no threat to the species, and even if we lost them from Britain, you know, globally the species would be secure. We might see fewer in winter. And others, you're absolutely right, have latched on to that. Those that don't like what we do in winter have latched on to the fact that, well, perhaps shooting's part of the cause of that decline.
Thanks, Andrew. And that is part of this week's podcast, where Andrew goes in depth into the future of woodcock in the UK. Now, a new series, it's All the Gear, this week with Terry Doe.
Hello, welcome to our exciting new series, All the Gear. This one's a little bit different. It will be product and gear based, But it's not just an intro. It's not just showing you what's about and what it does. We'll do that as well. But what we're going to do with this one is to take the stuff that I've learned about it and enable you to apply it to the particular piece of equipment. So we're going to kick it off with one of the most exciting bits of kit I've ever used. This is the DNT Optics ThermNight. And straight away, I've got to say, in these days of inclusion, they've misnamed it, because ThermNight stands for thermal vision, night vision. That's only half the story. This thing does digital. It does range finding. It does infrared illumination. And it's also a video camera. So I guess to put all that on there, they'd need to make the unit about twice the size. But this is a manageable piece of kit. All the instruction comes with it, and there are videos all over the place. And it's affordable. It's under £1,000. It's an amazing piece of kit. And my main tip is to combine two of the functions. If you're, say, out and you're using the digital, like an ordinary scope, you're using the digital daylight function. With this, you can do picture-in-picture and bring in thermal. So you're using your thermal as a spotter, and you're using your digital as the main sight. Obviously, with any rifle-based piece of kit, you don't wave the rifle around anywhere where you wouldn't think it's safe to shoot, but that will not impede you at all. Same thing with the night vision. If you're in night vision mode and you're out in the dark and you want a bit of thermal spotting, make quarry identification and location easier, bring it in. It's absolutely brilliant. This multi-platform piece of kit is where I thought years ago, I thought they'd be going this way, but I thought it'd be absolutely megabucks, and it isn't. It's available from Scott Country. Get onto them, tell them I sent you.
Thanks, Terry. And have you tried out a ThermNight unit? What do you think of it? Please leave a comment below. Next, from kit to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, James Martington brings you the best hunting videos in Hunting YouTube.
This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the latest and best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Here's what I picked for you this week. First, a close encounter with a sambar deer in Australia. Chris and Luke from the Huntsman channel are hunting thick woodland with dogs and end up shooting one of their deer at a range of just 5 meters. New Zealand and another hunter getting up close to his quarry. Controlled recoil is after chamois in the mountains and gets close enough to touch one. It's not the animal he wants to take though, so he enjoys the experience and lets it go. Over to Africa, and here's a promotional film from East Cape Bushveld Hunting, showing the range of experiences they're offering in 2025. I've got to admit I'm tempted. Back in the UK, Nick Yeowood is walking up snipe on the Welsh marshes. The cameraman struggles to stay upright and Nick misses a couple, but he does a good job of narrating the experience and gets one in the end. Next, the first film from a promising new channel called Wild Narratives. In this one, filmmaker and deer stalker Josh visits Cotswold deer manager Warren Broad to look at the need for deer control within the wider picture of land management. Lanks Vermin Control has a big rabbit control job on his hands and goes about it efficiently with a combination of a 2.2 rimfire and a 25 caliber FAC airgun. The ballistic scopes make it look easy, but this is seriously good shooting in a tricky wind. Here's something a bit different from Basque. This little film uses graphics and voiceover to explain how woodlands managed for shooting can be improved, not just for the shoot, but for all kinds of wildlife and the environment. Finally this week, here's a bit of underwater hunting. Josh and his mates from Souls on Tap are spearfishing off the island of Muckle Flugger in the Shetlands. It's quite an adventure in lovely clear water, and they catch some impressive pollock. That's it for this week. I've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the eye symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you'd like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, jamesm@fieldsportschannel.tv.
And that's it for this week. If you haven't done so, please whiz over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv. You can click to like us there on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, pop your email address into our register page, and we'll contact you about this show. Fieldsports Britain, that's UK time, 7 p.m. every week. And this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye. And as well as that picks for a thermal, we have a non-hunt bipod, a bipod. Leave me down, a bipod.